Hello, hi and welcome to Gardenville. Today, now Susan, we're looking at what sort of a hedge is this?
This is a beech hedge, Catherine, which is the same as the huge beech trees, but just grown as a hedge. You plant it 18 inches apart, 45 centimetres, and at this time of the year, we're in autumn now, or late autumn, leaf drop is finished, so you're buying it bare root. So it's quite a cost-effective hedge because it's not expensive bare root. Best planting height probably is 2 foot to 3 foot high, so that's 60 centimetres to 90 centimetres. And you get about 3 colours from it throughout the year, because you get the very bright light green leaves in early spring when it's coming out. It'll then go to this colour, this green. You'll then get it more, let's see, going this sort of yellowy colour, and then it'll finally finish up this dark brown colour. Now when the new leaves are coming out in the spring, it'll hold on to most of these dark leaves through the winter, and when the new leaves are coming in the spring, the old leaves will fall off at that point. Yeah.
Okay.
And you only have to trim it once a year. You trim them in August.
Now, do you get your trimmer and just go?
Yep, you can do it with
You won't kill the hedge or anything by doing that.
You can do it in that.
Now, it's quite there's a lot of sort of sharp edges to this hedge.
That's actually the bud for next year's leaf you have there.
I wonder, can you just pick that up on camera, because I didn't know whether it was like a spindle or something on
the. It's not a thorn. No, it's actually the bud for next year's leaf there.
Can you pick that up? Yeah, just as a matter of interest. And then, so eventually it will lose its leaves, the old leaves.
Well, the old leaves will fall. You can probably see, I don't know whether Rosie can see down there, but you can see the remains of old leaves sort of underneath.
Actually, there, even if you do that, you can see them falling off. But it doesn't become bare. I mean, isn't that the great thing about it?
It becomes sort of looser, not as dense, because it's lost some of its leaves and they've gone brown and curled up, but it doesn't actually get ever completely bare. And what I like is that change of colour through the seasons, rather than just having a green or a brown or whatever hedge.
Well, it's sort of what you're saying there is that you can go you're with the seasons.
You're going with the seasons. It's a hedge that changes with the seasons.
Yeah, that's actually a nice thing to have in the garden.
I think, certainly in the countryside, I think a beech hedge is essential. Now, you get people talking about native hedges. That's a mixture of beech, field maple and whitethorn.
Now, explain all this.
Okay, this is exclusively beech, this hedge here.
Yeah.
It's good long, must be 50 metres probably long.
Right, okay, so it can give you great coverage.
But you can also mix it for a sort of native hedge. You can put whitethorn into it, crataegus, which has berries for the birds in the autumn.
So how would you plant that then?
Generally you'd pick a ratio of something like 5 beech to 3 field maple to 2 thorn, something like that.
So when you're going along, you'd go beech?
No, you'd probably mix it slightly more randomly. But you'd have the predominant one would be perhaps beech.
So you're introducing another variety into it.
Now the beech will be holding on to its leaves, the thorn will lose its leaves completely, as will the field maple.
Isn't that very interesting?
And the other thing you can use as well as beech is carpinus, which is, now I'm going to completely have a blank.
It doesn't matter.
Hornbeam.
Oh, yes,
name.
I think I've heard of hornbeam.
Yeah. And it has, similar to beech, but it has a duller brown leaf in the autumn.
And so, as a whole combination then, you really would have a very interesting movement
hedge.
In your hedge. As a form of dividing up a garden or whatever, do you think this is a good hedge to use?
I'm very fond of beech hedges, and you'll still get a certain amount of wind protection in the winter with the old leaves on it.
Okay, and then in summertime it'll be green.
In summertime it'll be green,
vibrant,
from that bright fresh green in the spring through to a deeper duller green through the summer.
And when you plant this, Susan, do you need to feed it or anything?
The better you plant it, the better it'll do. So the best thing when planting a hedge is not to dig an individual hole for each plant, but to open a trench. And a good deep trench,
How deep are you talking?
Well, it depends on how big the plants are that you buy, the size
Okay,
of
about
root.
a foot down.
But I
would
would
it?
dig to maybe 18 inches down,
Oh, right, okay.
loosen the bottom of the hole, then add in some compost, a little bit of the soil as well mixed up in the bottom of the trench.
Right.
And then, much as we planted the rows, you would, ideally two people, one person holds the plant, you backfill, hold the next plant, firm it, something, and then finish off.
And finish off.
And then
okay.
the other trick then is keeping it watered obviously through its first and second growing season. And also to mulch the base so as you don't get grass and weeds and things growing in around it and competing with it for nutrients. If the grass grows right in, it's taking the nutrients and things, so keeping the underneath clean and free of weeds.
And do people ever sort of take just a couple of pots of the beech and just put it into sort of its own pot, or is it,
No,
it's done as a hedge?
It's done as a hedge, or if you're out in the country, you might plant it as trees, beech trees, the huge
Yes,
trees.
okay,
Yeah,
so
that's what this is.
But you just control it all
You just
the time
control it as a hedge.
Yeah.
I mean,
and its best seems to be is it a flat top to the hedge then?
Generally, this is flat-sided, flat top.
Flat
You could
top.
do it in a slight A shape, that slight slope.
And I presume it's cut like that because it gives a good angle as you look at it.
Well, it's I mean,
quite a
the
sharp
last thing you
sort
want
of
to
look.
do with any hedge is to do whomp with the hedge trimmers so that it gets heavier and wider at the top.
Top, okay.
It should either be
because
straight
that would fall over.
or having a slope that way. Because if you do it like that, the light doesn't get to the bottom of the hedge and it goes bare and
and
horrible.
it dies at the bottom then, is
Yeah.
that it? Okay.